Zenless Zone Zero comes out tonight. By the time you're watching this video, which means by the time I edited it, it's gonna be like an hour or two before it actually comes out, or after, whatever. It's gonna be here. Tonight, it's coming out, all right? And I wanna give you guys the top 10 mistakes that I wish I knew before starting Zenless Zone Zero. Now, disclaimer, this is pretty much gonna be used not as so much as a guide. I don't want you guys to think of this as like, oh yeah, you need to do these things, but it's more so that like I'm saying this because whenever I went through Zenless, I've gone through it 3 times now. Within the 3 times that I've gone through Zenless, there were a couple different things that I may or may not have done. And some of those things really stood out to me and I wrote them down. So now we have it pretty much listed out to where I can just kind of like, hopefully this helps you. And if it does, let me know, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If it doesn't, then make up your own and tell me what they are so I can use them and not waste time. Kicking things off, we're gonna go over account progression. Now, what I wanna do with this is pretty much allow you guys to think for yourselves. But I really wanna give the advice that if you're looking to make your account as strong as possible, if you're looking to make sure that you're power creep future proof, whatever the hell that means, then you're gonna wanna pay attention to a few things early on and then let that carry you throughout the game. If you come from Genshin Impact or even Honkai Star or any Hoyo game for that matter, you guys are very familiar with the fact that usually when you're playing a game, they're going to give you plenty of resources to level up more than likely 1.5 amounts of a team all the way up to wherever the story carries you. And as of right now, I'm pretty sure the story carries you somewhere up to like level 35, 40, 60, whatever it is, give or take. With that in mind, the key thing that you want to do is focus on leveling up the core systems of your characters. What I mean by that is basically the talents, the level themselves, the core passives, anything that you see on this screen, you're going to want to level up. You're going to want to make sure that all of this stuff is as high as possible for whatever your agent level allows you to do. Agent level in this case being the actual account level. So you'll see it in the top left corner somewhere up there and it'll say level 1, level 5, level 10, level 15, you know, so on and so on. The thing that gatekeeps you from progressing in the story. And speaking of story, you're going to want to progress far enough in the story just to be able to use your stamina at least on the first day of playing the game. So if you're playing the game as soon as it comes out, which is tonight, you're going to want to play the story at least to level 5 or 7, just so that you're able to use your stamina, maybe on leveling up some characters for your team or getting a couple of different materials for talents, whatever it is that you want to do. You just want to do this so that you're not full and overcapped, right? You want to be able to let the stamina recover over time so that way you're not wasting stamina. When you go into the next day, it'll pretty much refresh. And I say this because when you get to Mr. 10, the 10 Master, the coffee shop, you're actually able to refresh your stamina using the coffee. And I do believe we're going to have an event. I don't know if they're going to be doing it at the beginning of the game. Hopefully they do it on the second half of the game's launch so that everyone has more of a reason to refill their stamina. But once that happens, you're going to be able to refill your stamina, which is going to be huge. But if you waste it because you can do this daily, then you pretty much have no reason to do that. And it's like, ah, man, I wasted a day. But don't stress. It's not that big of a deal if you don't do it, right? Like I played it my second or third time on Zenless and I did not progress for like 3 days. So it doesn't really matter. Next up, we can go over character building, which I think is pretty expensive. After playing the game, going from CBT 2, 3, and now the full launch of the game, I can confidently say that building characters has only gotten more expensive. And I think this is for good reason. Now, I talk about this a few times in some other videos, but TLDR, I basically believe that the game is going towards a Honkai Impact 3rd type of meta, where you really want to focus on vertical investment of a particular team and then adding another team and vertically investing into that team. Now, I know from the Hoyo community, especially from the Genshin Impact side, you guys love grabbing characters, and that's cool too. I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but I will say you will not have enough resources to build every single character that you happen to get. Even if you're unlucky, it's probably still going to be hard for you just because of how expensive it is, on top of the fact that you want W engines, which are the weapons. We'll talk about that in a bit. So ideally, you're going to base your team building decisions around whatever S rank agent you get from the beginner banner, regardless of if you're re-rolling or not. This will 9 times out of 10 be your strongest available unit on your account until you pull another S rank. And this doesn't matter if you're going for like a limited character, right? If you're going for Ellen or you're going for Zuyuan, then you kind of know what you're doing, or rather you know what you should be looking for. But if not, I got another video that should be here, somewhere over here, that you can watch that video. It goes over all the characters, every single team comp that you could possibly want to run at the beginning of the game up to mid game or even end game for that matter, and what units you should be looking for. So continuing on with that point, pick one main character you're interested in and then build the team around them in order to maximize the free resources that are given to you from story progression. A good example of that would be something like if my 5-star or my S rank agent that I got from the beginner banner was Grace. Well, now I can take Anton, who's on the banner. Hopefully I get one. Use Anton as my main DPS character, focus around that. use Grace, and then use Ben, who I'm gonna get from free just from playing through chapter 2. I'm gonna be able to get Ben for free, and now I have a complete version of a team. Now I can focus on using this team, especially for the fact that once you get to Shiyu defense, you're gonna notice it's very electric favored right now. They are electric characters are having a blast, and there's only so few electric characters that we have currently in the game. But the next mistake would be to not focus on hard grinding for gear. Focus on the set itself first. So if you see Freedom Blues and that boost up the anomaly mastery, you're gonna want to focus on that just as a set so that you get the set bonus. I know in some other games we care about like rainbow sets, or you only want the stats, the set and the third, but the sets are pretty powerful in this game, and they help you kind of make up for not having stats, and stats are already really hard to come by as it is. Grinding for crit rate is not worth it in the beginning of the game, or even mid game for that matter, until you start to reach the point where you can basically create your S rank disc, or have the ability to create S rank disc. And this won't really matter if it's B rank, A rank, or even S rank. You can always take the previous drive disc that you have and upgrade it into the new one at any point in time. So whatever you're getting from the story, all the free stuff, just if it's good, throw it on your main team. Use that for now, because I promise you the story is not going to be so hard. There's a casual and a hardcore mode. You won't really need to focus on doing that. You can casually use your stamina alongside going through the story and casually playing the game, so that you don't burn yourself out and you're still progressing over time. Following that, do not neglect your W engines. Obtaining these isn't as free as some of you might be used to in other games, but for this example, let's just pretend it is. In the event they gave away some of these for free, not only are the stat differences incredibly different, but you'd also be comparing an S1, B, or A rank to an S rank signature weapon that gives that character exactly what they want. Now, as of full launch, we have every single 5-star character or S rank character in the game, and they all have some form of a signature weapon. The standard characters have their own signature weapon, and the limited banner characters will have their own signature W engine. Weapon is a W engine, by the way, guys, just in case y'all were confused. And while you can use these for other characters, so a stun W engine from Lycaon can possibly be used on Koleda or vice versa, things like that, you won't necessarily get all of the benefit from that, because they are geared towards that character, that faction, or that element. Now, I'm not going to tell you to pull on every weapon banner, because I know how y'all are, and I wouldn't want to do that either, and I'm not even encouraging that. But I will encourage you to at least pay attention to what you're investing into. For those worried about power creep, this is almost the easiest way to reduce that from happening. Finally, we get into the big boy, combat, and this point is huge. Don't be that guy, and by that guy, I mean the guy that complains about power creep and how the next best character is the best thing in the world, and my character can't do 13k on a single basic attack. How come you're hey man, you got a training mode. For a gacha game, Z3 has a training mode, and it's pretty valid. Get your butt into training mode and spend as much time as you want learning your characters. You have team setups, combos, meter management, burst windows, tag assist combos, you name it. Training room is the perfect place for you to play around with new builds, characters, or these crazy ideas that you come up with. I've been in the training room lately testing out a bleed Nekomata, simply because I want to pop as many assaults as possible. Like when I see assault happen, I'm trying to see 90k assault and then let my Nekomata go to work. But I guess you can't really do that without knowing the mechanics, and thankfully the mechanics are really easy to get into. The developers did have a roundtable with Street Fighter 6, and they did mention that the game has a low entry ceiling, or a low entry floor, low skill floor. They want everybody to be able to play it and pick it up very easily, but it has a high skill ceiling, meaning that it will progressively get harder over time if you choose to do so. And I think that's one of the better ways to go about it, especially for Zenless Zone Zero, simply because of the fact that everybody doesn't want to be a hardcore player, but they like the characters, and honestly the open world's fire. They put Shibuya in the game, and that was enough for me. But returning to training mode, you'll really take your game to the next level if you take the time to learn and practice using the mechanics with your specific team. Just because you see a golden flash doesn't mean you always need to parry, and I understand that's kind of the mechanic and that's what they teach you, but some characters like Ellen or Nekomata benefit more from using dodge counters and tag assist instead of parries. Others like Ben or Koleda will absolutely body enemies' daze meter with parrying. If you train yourself to be more situationally aware, you'll be fine, you'll be awesome, you'll be seeing crazy things happen that you didn't even know you can do. You're gonna start doing double chain attack into burst windows and burst ultimates and whatever else you can think of. Boy, you can just start naming up names and it'll happen. And that's my top 10. But if you made it to the end of this video, I got 2 bonus tips for you, which are like pretty simple to be fair, but I feel like doing it, so why not? Bonus tip number 1, don't build pity. Please just stop. I don't know why y'all still doing that. You guys are addicts. You have a gambling addiction. You need to stop. Don't build pity. If you don't want Ellen and you know you want Julian, don't go on Ellen's banner.
I'm gonna build a little bit of it.
No, if there's nothing on Ellen's banner you want, don't go there. If there's nothing on Julian's banner you want, don't go there. Those are pools that you can save for the W engine for the character that you do want. You know you want Julian and not Ellen. Why would you waste pools building pity on Ellen's banner when you could just guarantee get Julian probably on the 10 or 20 on her banner, and then throw the other 10 or 20 that you would have had for free onto her weapon, and now you got a fully kitted Julian. We are getting over 280 free pulls in the game throughout 1.0, and that's not even including all of the events that they didn't tell us about. And yes, there are events that we don't even know are coming to the game in 1.0. Bonus tip number 2, no need to rush through the game. The game is fine. You can casually play the game as often as you want or however you want. And they were definitely stressing that they wanted this to be treated more like a game like that. Not so much a side game, but that they don't want to punish you for not playing the game every day, every hour, whatever the case may be. Now, while it doesn't have an auto mode like Star Rail, the best part about this is the simple fact that you can take this game on your phone. You can play this game on your Steam Deck or your ROG if you have one of those. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Hell, if you have a PlayStation Portal, yo, Sony, please give me a PlayStation Portal for free. Like, just send it my way. Sponsor your boy, and I'll use the PlayStation Portal, and I'll make a Zenless video sponsor. I don't care. I just want one because they look cool, and it reminds me of the Vita back in the day. And the PS Vita was the best handheld system in the world. Guys, that's gonna wrap up my top 10 mistakes that I wish I knew before starting Zenless Zone Zero, and hopefully these 10 mistakes can help you out with your game progression as well. I wanted to treat this a little bit more casually than I do some of the other videos that I talk about, where I'm pretty much just giving you guys all of the tips that aren't super meta-fied, but really fun, and still allows you to take advantage of the meta if you choose to do so. That way you kind of have a choice, and I don't want it to feel like I didn't give you a choice, even though it's not really my right to give you a choice or not. You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm live on Twitch right now playing the game. By the time this video is live, I'm more than likely live on Twitch. Come through twitch.tv/IYOKUU. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Please give me money so I can go get Ellen her weapon. Smell you later.